Hey everyone, I'm Sakar, and this is going to be our first ever build for our starter series, which basically means if you are a new player, a returning player, or you just want an easy build to put together for PvP that isn't too difficult to put together, this is going to be your kind of build. So I'm going to be putting these kind of builds together for most classes, Nightblade, Templar, everything. Basically anything that you guys want as a beginner class. We're going to start off with Nightblade though today with a few variations. So one real quick before we get started, I do want to start playing a new game with these build videos. I like to record these in different areas of Cyrodiil or just all of Tamriel. So the first person to comment basically the rough coordination of where I am gets 500,000 gold on PCNA. So good luck. Try and use all of these clues to your advantage of our area and try and figure out where we are. First person to comment gets that gold. All right, so let's get started. We're going to be a Khajiit on our Nightblade. In my opinion, Khajiit is absolutely best in slot. Crit damage is so unbelievably high right now that you definitely want to do Khajiit. Like, trust me, there, in my opinion, is no second option. Khajiit is just so high above everything else, in my opinion. We're also going to, for our attributes, have 13 points into magic, 19 points into health, and 32 points into stamina to give us a max magic pool of 19k, max health pool of 32.8k, and a max stam pool of 20.1k. We're also going to be Vampire Stage 3 on here. I still think that Vampire Stage 3 is amazing because you still get that 15% reduced damage taken when you're lower health, and I would take any kind of reduced damage that I could take in this game. You're taking a lot nowadays. Also, we're going to be using Jewels of Misrule for our food. That's going to increase our health while also increasing our stamina and magic recovery as well. And then as well, we're using this Shadow Mundus too. That's going to increase our overall critical damage and healing as well. So let's move on to our gear next. We're going to be using Bloodspawn as our monster set. Bloodspawn is a very easy monster set to get. It's been in the game since the game came out, and in my opinion is the most reliable monster set that you could use. It's going to give you a line of stam recovery, and also when you take damage, you're going to have a 6% chance to generate 13 ultimate and increase your physical and spell resistance by 3.7k for 5 seconds. So basically, that's going to give you a bunch of ult charge, and it's going to make you really tanky. In my opinion, that's going to be really helpful for you newer players and your returning players, where you kind of figure out what's going on, and it's going to basically make you a lot tankier as time goes on. So both our helmet and shoulders are going to be medium divines. I'm doing divines a lot on this build, and I'll explain in a second why. But for now, we're going to move on to our heavy chest piece. That's going to be a trainee chest piece. We have one extra slot on this build. So in my opinion, going heavy trainee chest reinforced is always the best way to get the maximum amount of health as possible. It really lets you just take over, and it gets you just get so much extra health. Definitely recommend doing that. So for our back bar set, we're going to be using Wretched Vitality. This is going to give you so much recovery. It's unbelievable. So it's going to give you, for the 2 and 3 piece, it's going to give you magic and stam recovery. The 4 piece is weapon and spell damage, so it's going to only be on your back bar, which is fine. And then for your 5 piece, while in combat, applying a major buff or debuff with a duration to a target grants you 260 magic and stam recovery for 15 seconds. Same thing with a minor buff or debuff as well. It's going to give you 130 magic and stam recovery. So I'm just going to go ahead to our skills real quick because I want to show you exactly what it takes to proc this. That way you guys know exactly what it does. Basically, when you're in combat and if you proc Hurricane, it has a major buff of major resolve, and so that's going to apply the major condition of Wretched Vitality. Then also it applies minor expedition, which is going to apply the minor part of the Wretched Vitality as well. So basically you get the buff of Hurricane as well as the extra recovery of Wretched Vitality for doing that. So make sure you're sticking to that. Make sure you keep that going at all times. So Rallying Cry is going to be our front bar set. We're going to be using a light divine sash. That way we can get the most amount of just out of Rallying Cry as possible. I don't like to use light armor nowadays. I just think that medium and heavy is better. So that's why we only have 1 piece, and it's just best to put on your waist because it's the smallest piece. So Rallying Cry, it's going to give you a line of crit chance, max magic, and another line of crit chance. And then this is what the 5 piece does. When you're healing critically strikes while Battle Spirit is active. So that means whether you're in a duel, Battlegrounds, Imperial City, or Cyrodiil, those are the 4 conditions of Battle Spirit. You and your group members within 12 meters of you are going to gain 1650 crit resist and 300 weapon spell damage for 20 seconds. Then the more people you have in that group, the less it's going to be. So trying not to have too many people in your group while you're playing with this, but hey, it's up to you. Play how you want to play. So I really like Rallying Cry, and the amount of crit resistance that you get from that is the reason why I put Divines on all my other pieces, besides like a few Reinforced and a few well-fitted. That's why I have Divines, because we already don't have enough impen on there. We don't really need any more crit resistance than we already do, so that's why I don't do it. Divines, it's going to boost your Mundus Stone, which is going to be our Shadow, so it's going to increase your overall critical damage and healing. That's why I do that. Just, you know, so you guys know. Also, for our legs, heavy reinforced Wretched Vitality ones. It's going to increase our overall resistances as high as possible by having reinforced. I like it. It's best that way, in my opinion. And then for your feet, well-fitted medium boots of Wretched Vitality. It's going to reduce the cost of roll dodge and sprint by 6%. Helps a little bit with that sustain, and I really like it. For our jewelry, our one mythic is going to be the Monomyth Reforged. It's going to be in the infused trait with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. I know, guys, I know I have got a mythic on an easy to acquire build. I know. But that being said, I think that this mythic is very strong to get. And I think that if you want a chance in PvP, and if you really want to make the most of it, I would highly recommend grinding Scrying out. Try saying that 5 times fast. It is so good. Mythics are a great way to get in a really nice advantage in this game by just having one slot filled as well. So guys, please grind out Scrying. It is very important. You need these mythics to really compete in endgame PvP. And this is the one that I think is very easy to get. I got mine in under an hour. It was very easy to get, and I highly recommend it. Like, please get this. What it does is on your primary bar, you're going to get Major Force and Minor Berserk. So you're going to be hitting very hard. Major Force increases your critical damage significantly, and Minor Berserk increases your overall damage significantly as well. But you also get Minor Vulnerability as well, so you just take a little bit more damage, but it's fine. It's really not that noticeable. And then also while you're on your back bar, you're going to get Major Protection, so you're going to get a lot tankier. And then you're also going to get Minor Vitality as well, so it's going to increase your healing as well, so that's nice. But you're also going to get Minor Timidity, which is going to reduce your overall ult charge. I think you lose like 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds, so as long as you just keep on light attacking, you won't even notice it, I promise. So it's great. I think it's one of the best mythics, if not the best mythic in the game right now. I highly recommend it. Also, for the rest of our jewelry, both are going to be Rallying Cry pieces, Ring and Amulet. Both are going to be infused with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it as well. And then for our front bar, we're going to be using Rallying Cry as our axes. I put Rallying Cry axes on here because, I don't know, I just felt like we just wanted to really lean into the crit damage part of this. I could do maces. If you have maces, that'd be more than fine too. That way you can increase your penetration as high as possible. But I like axes because that's going to increase our critical damage as high as possible. So our main hand is going to be Nirnhoned with a poison damage enchantment on it, and our offhand is going to be sharpened with a disease enchantment on it. That way we can get as many different status effects on the enemy as possible. And then back bar is going to be an Ice Staff of Wretched Vitality, defending with an increased weapon and stability enchantment on it as well. So let's move on to our skills for that. If you guys have any questions about all this stuff, by the way, please ask in the comments. Like, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. So let's move on to our skills. Our main spammable is going to be Concealed Weapon. This is going to be a great source of burst damage that you can apply to your enemy. If you apply this with your other abilities, this is great damage to apply to them. This is going to be your main damage spammable. Also, Shadowy Disguise. This is great to go in and out of stealth, but don't use it too long because it is on the toggle now, and if you just stay in it, you will lose all of your magic very quickly. So don't stay in that. But also what's really cool about this is you're going to gain Major Prophecy and Savagery on both bars. So that's going to increase your overall weapon and spell critical significantly on both bars. It's really good for your overall damage and healing. Also, Whirling Blade, this is going to be your execute, so don't use this unless your enemies are at low health. And then on top of that, what's really cool is this is going to go through roll dodge. So if your enemies are just roll dodge spamming, dude, that's great. So many enemies, what happens is they start to panic when they're at low health, and then they start roll dodging. Doesn't matter with this. You can go right through it. It's awesome. And then we also have Phantasmal Escape. This is going to be your source of major evasion. So it's going to reduce your damage taken by AoEs by 20%, which is great damage mitigation. On top of that, this is going to be a snare removal as well. So you're not going to get stuck by all those pesky snares. And then also what's really cool about this as well, we're going a lot. While active, taking direct damage reduces the cost of your next roll dodge by 10% up to a maximum of 100%. So basically, and this affects stacks every half second. So if you take direct damage once every 0.5 seconds, every 5 seconds you're going to get a free roll dodge, which is so much damage mitigation. I highly recommend it. It's amazing. Make sure this is active at all times. When I was using this build, it kind of was a little bit difficult to keep up sometimes if I wasn't thinking about it. But once I started thinking about it and understanding, hey, this is going to help me really with my AoE pressure, and just like it'll reduce the AoE pressure coming in. Sorry. Start using it more often. I highly recommend it. Also, Merciless Resolve. This is the highest form of burst damage in the game, period, end of story. You cannot convince me otherwise. And now you can get 2 procs of Merciless Resolve. So basically, what happens is every time you light or heavy attack, you're going to get a stack of Merciless Resolve. And then at 5 stacks and 10 stacks, you're going to be able to shoot an arrow, one of these arrows off. So a great way to combo that is with your incap. The one thing that I have noticed, it kind of bugs out on me sometimes. Don't shoot them like back to back, because sometimes your second one won't really, it won't really connect properly, and it's really weird. It's buggy. So what I've done a lot of the times is, I'll explain after this this ultimate. So for our ultimate, we're using Incapacitating Strike because, in my opinion, it's one of the cheapest and strongest ultimates in the game. It's amazing. So much burst damage. Like our tooltip without even being buffed is 12.8k. Amazing. Top tier. So what I've started to do for my burst damage is I'll shoot my first Merciless Resolve, then I'll incap, shoot my second Merciless Resolve, then I'll hit like a concealed into Whirling Blades, and most players in the game drop. They're taking a little dirt nap. It's great. I highly recommend it. Such a good burst combo. And then we're also subclassing on here. So we have the Assassination and Shadow skill lines on Nightblade, but then for Sorcerer, we have Storm Calling, which I think that it's highly necessary to use on most builds. I think that this is one of the best subclasses to use, which is why we're using this. Obviously, you don't need to use this if you don't want to. If you want to stay pure Nightblade, you're more than welcome to. Like, I'm not going to say that you're wrong for doing that. It's probably pretty good, I'm going to be honest. But that being said, I think that these 2 abilities are really strong and really worth it. Crit Surge is going to be your source of major brutality and sorcery, increasing your weapon spell damage by 20% for 33 seconds. So that increases your overall damage. But what I think is huge about this that is really helpful is increases your healing. So every time you critically do damage, you're going to heal for 3,200 health. And that can occur once every second. You're critting so often on this build. Your base crit percentage is 44.5%. You are critting very often on this build. So that is a lot of healing that comes in very often. So, you know, make sure that this is active at all times. You always want that. Also, Hurricane. This Hurricane and Crit Surge, just clean. They are such a good combo to use. The Hurricane, this is going to be your source of major resolve. We talked about this earlier, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 6k. And then on top of that, it's going to increase your movement speed by 50% as well. And it's going to put a little AoE around you as well. So, and it's going to be doing damage every 2 seconds during that AoE for 20 seconds. So that has a chance to crit as well. And that damage stacks up over time as well. It's really nice. So don't sleep on Hurricane. That is going to be a great way to keep your Crit Surge healing you at all times. It is amazing. Also, Resolving Vigor. This is a nice 5-second heal over time to help you get right back up to full health. Combining Resolving Vigor and Crit Surge is so much passive healing over time. It is amazing. And then we have Healing Soul, which is a very easy scribing ability to get. You can basically get this at base game, more or less, as long as you have scribing. You do not need to grind for this at all. It is very easy to do. So for scribing, or, I mean, look, if you don't want this, that's perfectly fine. I just highly recommend this one because it's such a strong heal. This is, you can get this by getting the Vitality script in Ralka. It's very easy to get. Just go over to like the Mages Guild of Ralka. You'll see a little script lying there on the ground. You pick it up and boom, you can craft this skill very easily. It's a nice burst heal. It gives you a little bit of healing over time as well. And you get major vitality for 9 seconds, increasing your healing as well. I highly recommend it. And then Ellie's Susceptibility. This is going to be your source of major breach on your enemies, reducing their physical and spell resistance by 6k. Also, every 7.5 seconds, the enemy is going to be afflicted with the Burning, Chilled, and Concussion status effects. So that's a lot of status effects to add on top of your 2 that are on your main weapon. You got 5 status effects on your enemies at all times. That's a lot of damage. And then also Temporal Guard. Basically, the only reason why we have this is because of the minor protection on your back bar as well. And then also for our champion points, last things we're going to go over real quick. Our blue slottables are going to be Fighting Finesse, critical damage. Untamed Aggression, overall damage. Ironclad is going to be reduced damage taken. And Mastered Arms increases your damage. Red slottables, Survival Instincts, Pain's Refuge, Celerity, and Rejuvenation. And then one thing that I always want to point out there, it is a new thing in the green tree. Green tree isn't really necessary too much. Rationer and Liquid Efficiency are both very good as well. And then also on top of that, Breakfall is always necessary. I always recommend having Breakfall. But a brand new one is Disciplined Artisan. Increases experience gained for currently active skills and their skill lines by 3% per stage. I didn't even have that active. That's completely my fault. Always make sure that's active. That will help you level up your subclassing a lot quicker. Make sure this is always active. So that is, oh, and we also use, I also use tripods as well. I think tripods are amazing. And you can now buy them in the siege vendors, whatever they're called, in any keep. Very free to do so. Definitely, I mean, it's not free. It costs you 1,000 AP per, I think it is. But hey, look, for me, it beats buying them in the regular guild traders all the time. It's going to save me so much gold in the long run. So guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been the first build of our starter series. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Do you like this kind of build? Do you guys want these kind of builds more often where it's a lot more beginner friendly? Because I think this is a very beginner friendly build. The people in Twitch chat that I was going over this with today, they all kind of agreed as well. So I hope that you guys like it. If you do, do me a giant favor, hit that like button for me. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button for me. I'd highly appreciate all of those things. And guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Later.